So this is a thing I've kind of wanted to talk about for a long time, and I think it's an interesting subject. So the question is IT killing people's jobs? Which, that's a pretty loaded question, and there's no doubt people out there who have lost their jobs to a new development that the IT department did. I wouldn't, deny that. But that's not really how it generally goes. The answer to the question is, in a way, yes, but it's much more complex than that. And I will say, in my career, I've never once finished a project and then we turned around to the people that helped us, create it by telling us how their job works and said, all right, we're letting you go. We got the computer to do it now. You're done. So generally, the programs that we make, they actually just make people's jobs easier and they make them do their jobs better. In one way because, there are certain things that computers just do better than people, like remember information, right? Even if you write things down or have people manually save things and you require that they do that, well, there's really no better way to require something than to have the computer do it. And that's what it was programmed to do. It will always do it by design. So you don't ever have to worry about anybody forgetting to write something down or do something. So those people didn't lose their jobs. They just now have an easier way to do it, an easier way to track what they're doing. Now, I will say this, did that maybe lead to not hiring a new person, where if there was no, computing and advancement, maybe the way that problem would have been solved would have been hiring someone to deal with it and oversee things. So now that's not going to happen because, well, the computer can do it, right? So that's a possibility. I will admit to that there's definitely a thing where there's a potential person that will not be hired because of that new, this new software, basically. Again, never seen anyone fired, but I have heard stories where, yeah, we developed this product and then we put it into action for this company and they fired an entire department because now the computer can do their job. Funny thing about computers is the name used to be a job title for people who would kind of do math in their head. And so you can definitely say it erased that entire job title and actually took its place. So it's, you can totally say, for sure, I'm not gonna try to, sugarcoat it. Computers have erased jobs over time. This has been happening, since the 50s and 60s, really. When computers were being born, they were starting to do things, one, that humans couldn't do, but then that humans could do, but now we don't actually need them to. Now, at first, that may have created just as many jobs as it took away, and the net benefit was now we're better at doing what we do in general. But in certain areas, there are times where a computer just wipes out a job, and that job is gone, and those people have to go find another place to work, either doing the same thing, which could have the same thing happen, or get another line of work. Now, tech in this country, in the United States, has created a lot of jobs. It's like a huge industry at this point, and everybody's clamoring to get into it because it seems to be the best place to be. It's up and coming. And part of the reason for that is there's a huge scare about any other job could be automated by tech, especially with AI and things, right? AI is coming along and people are afraid of it because they think it's going to now be able to replace even college level jobs, which, by the way, that is sort of a misconception that some jobs now without AI are the college level jobs that, can now be done by the computer. Now, rarely, I will say rarely does someone actually lose a college level job. Generally, they just shift to focusing on different things. And most of the time, those things are actually more meaningful than that more repetitive task that the computer, took over. So it also plays the role of making jobs better in general and increasing job satisfaction and leaving you the time to do the meaningful parts of work. But in a way, is it reducing the amount of people you need to accomplish a given goal? Well, sure. I mean, it's hard to argue that that's not the case, because if we couldn't have made that program to make our whole, thing better, what we're trying to do, we probably would have hired someone to do something. And That's a definite truth. That's all I can say for sure, is that there are jobs that would have been that are not because of computers. And there probably are people, like I said, that actually lost a job that way. In my experience, most of the time, it's actually that it makes a person's job better. It might make it to where we don't need to hire someone who otherwise, would have gotten a job. It's mostly not a bad thing, and we have plenty of things to do in this country. Like, there's no shortage to the demand in entertainment. I mean, there are so many people with so many different niche kind of, proclivities, things that they like that they can't find enough of. So it's hard to say that the people that have lost their job have nowhere to go. But, sometimes it's hard to make that shift from being an accountant to being a YouTuber in a really niche kind of, thing. So it's complicated. I would say my personal opinion is it's a positive thing for society. I also understand the blowback and I understand the fear. Now, with something like, AI, I do think that the fear is overblown. When you look into what AI really does, it can do some things very well, but those are not generally things that people do for a living. Like, I'll give you an example. Right now, we're trying to get AI to recognize a car on a road, right? So, yeah, in theory, that could take the job of a trucker, right? But in general, there aren't that many people that make their living identifying cars on roads. Probably none. So there's a lot more to it than just AI that has to be involved for that job to be overthrown. And other things than that, I'd say that's probably the most practical, application of AI up to this point. There are some others, but AI tends to be good at things that we're not good at. It's good at very small things, like, identifying a car. Now, can you make enough AIs to drive a truck and do all the things a trucker does? Probably not. I mean, again, it has to have a specific goal in mind, and it has to be a simple goal, else it will just game the system in order to get its, results. So, yeah, there should be some fear there. I get that. I'm not saying it's completely stupid to be afraid of AI taking people's jobs, because it's not, but I do think the fear is overblown. IT in general, tech in general, is it taking jobs? I don't really feel that way. I feel like it's transforming the way that things work, mostly to the side of being better and more efficient. I think the side effect of that is that maybe a job that would have been offered was not, and maybe very rarely someone actually loses a job. So that's my opinion. Agree with me, disagree with me, up to you. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you want more of this stuff, subscribe to my channel. I make this stuff like once a week. So yeah, have a good night.